I love, like, before I got on with you, somebody sent me a note. He goes, I just want to thank you so much for coming into my life and helping me. And he was just a guy in our academy. But it's a stressful time, for when you're transitioning out of something where you know what you're doing every second of the day and being told, go here, right? And now you're coming into the unknown of being thrown into the civilian world. And most of them have families, they have houses, they have bills, and what our team does in their corner with them, and hey, we got you, let's go, come on, we're gonna do this. It's super rewarding, and I love that aspect of it, money aside, I just love that. I feel good when I go to sleep at night, so.
Welcome to Do Small Business Like a Big Boss, where we explore the real stories, hard-earned lessons, and game-changing strategies of entrepreneurs who've moved beyond the side hustle and built businesses that scale with confidence. This show is proudly sponsored by Project Icon. I'm your host, Aisha Jorge Massengill, your small business legal guide. Let's dive in. Hey bosses, welcome to the latest episode of Do Small Business Like a Big Boss. Today, our guest is Jordie Kern, founder of Seven Eagle Group, based out of Amherst, Mass. Seven Eagle Group's mission is to connect military veterans and transitioning service members with lucrative and rewarding careers. Welcome, Jordie.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
I am fantastic. I'm really excited for you to be here. Thank you for agreeing to be on the pod.
Of course. What an honor.
You have a really interesting background, and as I understand it, grew up the son of a World War II Army veteran. Is that right?
That is right. Yeah, my dad served right after Pearl Harbor, and I never had that opportunity to do it. Never, I wish I did as I look back, but I never signed up myself. And as I got older, I said, man, I really want to do something to help these incredible men and women who do raise their hands for us. So
yeah, I actually many decades ago have been to Pearl Harbor, and it is just a sobering but beautiful experience to go through the tour and to visit the site and all of that stuff. But one question I have for you is, was there a time that you realized that was a pretty big deal that your dad was a World War II veteran?
Oh yeah, not when I was young. I mean, I thought it was cool. He would tell stories every now and then, but it wasn't until I got older and then really understood what that, especially that generation did. I mean, he left, he grew up very poor in South Boston and left for the war at age 17. Like, I think he had, it was like a couple days out of high school or something, and just scared and nervous and never had left Boston before. And, he told me his story. They put him on the ship to go to the South Pacific, and him and one of his buddies from the neighborhood were so scared. They were just so young, little boys, they slept in the cot together, and because they were so nervous. So nothing but respect for all those people who did have served in wars over the years. So,
well, I certainly appreciate the service. We chatted a little bit beforehand and talked about the fact that I've got a couple of service members in my life, and I always honor and appreciate folks who actually volunteer to go. And I remember having a conversation with my co-parent after he had done a tour in Iraq, and my nerves were wrecked. And I was like, I'm done with the Army, like enough with the Army. And he would always give me all these explanations about TRICARE, health insurance and everything. And I'd be like, I can get health care anywhere. And one time he actually brought his captain to talk me off the ledge. And I said, listen, what you got to tell me is I love my guys and I love what I do, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me, right? When you choose this, sometimes I get frustrated that, if you've gone to an Army base, the facilities are not the finest. I've been to Fort Sill, Fort Bliss. I've been to a lot of these bases, and they're not always the finest. So it really takes a beautiful soul to actually volunteer and re-up.
Regardless of whatever they do in the service. Yeah. And the mill spouses, the men and women whose partner is over serving. I mean, as a military mom, it can take a toll on a whole family. So
it really can. So, okay. I always pay attention to sports stories, and I'm afraid you said your dad grew up in South Boston. I'm a New Yorker. I don't wanna fight with you on the pod,
Well, we're New
but
Yorkers too.
okay, 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 good.
Yeah, that's where I was
Good,
from.
good, good. But I always pay attention to sports stories, and one thing that caught my attention was some of the work that you did with the Clemente family. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I didn't serve, like I mentioned, but right after college, I just knew I wanted to have my own business. I never really wanted to work for anyone else. And I was just thinking of an idea of what I could do, something different. And always liked baseball, played it growing up. And so I just reached out to the Clemente's family. He was a died at a young age, but a real hero in Puerto Rico. He's first Hall of Famer, I believe, from the island. Told him I wanted to bring baseball teams, youth baseball teams, high school and a little younger, to Puerto Rico for like week-long trips. And so I did that in my 20s, and that was a lot of fun. Did that for, I don't know, 8 years or something, and then worked with the New York Rangers too, brought hockey teams up to Canada. And I saw you've worked at Under Armour, so the world of sports. And but that was fun. That was a good time.
Yes, 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 and yo soy una boricua de the Bronx.
There you
So
go.
so I'm very well versed. In fact, when I
Wait,
was
wait, you
going
grew up in, oh, you're
in
from, your parents are
I'm
from here?
my grandparents, and then
Grandparents,
I grew
nice.
up in the Bronx, and I grew up going to Roberto Clemente State Park to swim every summer.
Oh
It
my
felt like every
gosh.
day. So
You
I'm
and
and then I
J-Lo.
what's that?
You and J-Lo.
Yes, me and Jayla. Well, she was on the 6, I was on the 4 line, so I'll forgive her that. But, um, but I also lived in Pittsburgh for a number of years where
Oh, good.
obviously he
That's awesome.
played and I think he may have passed away on my birthday, and I don't take that as a bad omen. But he
72,
did he did,
December, yeah.
magnificent, magnificent work, and it
Uh,
seems to be a theme for you, Jordie, because you also, I think, served with Project Rubicon for some
Yeah.
time. Tell me
Yeah, I
about
did a
that work.
volunteer trip with them. That was amazing. They're a military organization that follows disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, and they bring veterans and civilians who just go on site and help with the cleanup. And that was an amazing experience. Yeah. I went down to the.
So can you walk me through that moment where you decided to start Seven Eagle Group?
Sure. So I'd run a few businesses, the baseball and hockey ones and a few others. And then this was in my late 40s, and I was in between jobs. One of the businesses had failed, and I was ready to start the next one, and wanted to do something a little simpler, where I can
Mm,
do it remotely, didn't have to have an office and the overhead that some of the other ones did. And just always enjoyed helping people connect with employers and presenting themselves to get hired. And I said, I want to combine that with something. And it came across like the idea of placing military vets, and that would be the niche of the business. And, I, in one of my previous businesses, I had hired an army vet to work in sales on the team, and he did the work of like 5 people and was
mm.
just like an unbelievable talent. And that stuck with me. And I'm like, man, why these men and women have been taught the grit, the toughness, the leadership, the persistence, the mission focus, that most civilians never get that training. I certainly didn't. And I said, there's a need there, man. Let's help see if I could help more of them connect with great companies, great opportunities, so they can get the lives that they deserve, the high paying jobs, the leadership opportunities. Because as you know, there are too many vets are they're underemployed, they're
Mm.
unemployed, they're not happy with their work and with what they get to do every day. And like civilians, that's when problems can occur, when people are not, they don't get joy out of their daily life, and they get, upset when the alarm clock goes off because they got to go do it all again. And I felt it doesn't have to be that way. So, yeah, so that was the idea behind Seven Eagle, and I launched that. That was 12 years ago.
Mm.
And we've grown. We have about 30 people now. We're still remote, which I love, and reaching a lot more people in the community. And I just love the work. I wish I came across it in my 20s, because I like
Mm.
what I'm doing now better than I think I had 7 other businesses over the
Oh,
years before.
wow.
So
Wow. So you
Yeah.
had the heart for it and the passion for it, but what did the early days look like when you're starting your agency from day to day?
Yeah, it's a grind, man. First of all, you gotta really buy into the idea of, hey, I'm gonna be my own boss and
Mhm.
everything that entails, the good and the bad, because it's tough, you know. It's not an easy path. It's not for the faint of heart. You got to be willing to, work, 60, 80-hour weeks to get it going. Money is tight, you have to be creative. You have to be willing to do everything from sales to marketing to admin, because you don't have the budget. You don't have the funds to usually bring on a big crew. But if you could find something that you love, something you're passionate about, in my case, it was the idea of, hey, I want to give back to this group of people who I have nothing but respect for and did so much for us. And they served and I didn't serve. And I felt like that was a good way for me to contribute and do my part. And that helps. That gets you through the tough times, right? I say to people, I go work for somebody else. It's not going to be easy either. You're going to work
Mhm.
hard. If you want to get ahead, you're going to have to work hard and it's going to be tough days. You go work for yourself. It's the same, you got to, you know, go full steam ahead and, they're going to be tough days. And I just feel if you have you know, a real passion behind that, you have a why, you feel like you're making a difference. I just feel it helps get through those tough days, you know?
It sounds like one minor correction. You did not serve in a military capacity, but it sounds
Right.
like based on all the things you've done with your life since then, you absolutely serve. So I just
I
wanted to
yeah, I
call
guess you
that
could
out.
say not at the
Yes.
same level, but
Yeah.
yeah, I do feel like
It
I'm
just
helping
takes
'cause
on a different form.
they do a great job of preparing the men and women to be incredible workers on the civilian side, but they
Mhm.
do a lousy job at helping them with their transition. They sort of give them a couple days of some classwork and they give them a pat on the back and say, go get them. And to a lot of people, it's really scary. And that might be somebody who served 20 years and retiring. They haven't had a civilian job maybe since they were 16 years old.
Yeah.
And to give them that support, that community, that confidence that they need to know that there are people out here who are in their corner and helping them. They don't have to do it alone. So,
So I would imagine in the early days, because you talked about how hard it is, you talked about the grind that it can be when you're trying to build something from scratch. What did you anchor to when you had doubts or encountered kind of,
mm,
tough spots? What did you anchor to kind of allow you to push forward 12 years later?
yeah, it's a great question. It's not just 12. In my case, it's 35 years later. I mean, because I've been my own boss for 35 years, right?
Amazing.
And it is, there are days that it's so hard. It's tough. You got like no one to blame but yourself when
Right.
things go wrong,
Yes.
right? But
Yes.
um, you know, there's just so many moving parts to running a business, and especially if you want to really grow it fast, and it's a lot of pressure and a lot of you got to get good, or as good as possible in as many different areas, but there's no steady paycheck. It's you got to go
Mhm.
with the flow of this. But as hard as that is, I don't think looking back, I'd want to ever go do it the other way. I don't think I was just not cut out to go work for somebody else. I love that when things go well, I love that, I played a big part in that. And it was,
Mhm.
and at the same token, when things don't go well, I like taking responsibility. I don't like blaming someone else for, where we are or whatever. So I really enjoy the being your own boss. I have two kids. They're both out of the house now, but like I never missed a game or a con
Mm.
whatever. I love working at home. I love, hey, and it's the middle of the day. I want to take the dogs for a walk. I'll go do that for an hour. And I like that freedom, that flexibility to sort of chart my own course and, and I love it. It's, but I'm still grinding every day. And, like I'll work. Sometimes I'll get up, or not sometimes, I get up early, even on weekends, and I put
Mm,
in 5, 6 hours in the morning, but I don't look at it as work. That's why I was saying, like, if you can find the business that you're passionate about,
mhm.
that it doesn't feel like a chore, as much. It feels like I get up early Sunday morning, Saturday morning, and I like want to do it. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go.
Mhm.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Like, I want to do that. It's not like, oh crap, I gotta work. This sucks. It should be right. But anyway, that's just me. It doesn't always make it easy on, relationship, my
Yeah,
spouse. Why working again? Jesus, right? So,
yeah.
but anyway, I wouldn't have it
So
any
how do you what is your morning routine like since you're an early
yeah.
riser? Like, how do you
Yeah,
structure your day?
I have a hard time staying up late at night. By like 9:30, I'm in bed. I can't. I'm just falling asleep. I'm so wiped. But I get up at a little before 5, and I go to the gym during the week, and I just go for half an hour or something to Planet Fitness, and I go exercise and come back, and I like to sort of sit and like on the couch or lie down and just do like deep breathing or just think about
Mm.
the day or whatever. I do that for like 15, 20 minutes, and then get showered and get after it, and but I like those, so I'm at my desk from like, I don't know, whatever, 6:30 to 9 before it gets crazy. Like those 2.5 hours, I'm usually very productive during that time period because I'm not on calls or doing email, so I can be productive then. And then, um, my day winds down about 6-ish or so. And yeah, so
Yeah, the those early morning hours I know for me are sacred.
yeah,
Because it is the time where it's your priority for the day. Once you start taking the calls and opening
yeah,
up the
right.
Pandora's box that is your email, it can get away from you. And I'm not at a stage of my career where I can just ignore the emails. There's some people
Yeah.
that I don't have to read them. Yeah, no, I have clients
When
who
you're your own business, there's none of that. Oh, I'll read it tomorrow. No, it's
yeah,
like,
you cannot put it off. So you have to stay
yeah.
locked in,
But
as my
the
kid would
morning
say.
hours, hey, I'm not going to look at my phone for a couple hours when you wake up, and I try to do that, which is
Yeah.
good. So,
So getting
yeah,
back to
but
the
I like,
business,
yeah.
you do something really unique with these 1-minute veteran video
You
introductions.
did your research.
Yeah,
I love
I
this.
how did you come up with that
Come up with that.
idea?
So
Yeah.
you'll appreciate this because you were in HR too and stuff. It's like, I hate resumes. I hate them. It's like, the resume, it's like the system hasn't changed in like 100 years. It's like you want a job and you fill out a one sheet of paper about yourself, and then somebody looks at that piece of paper and says yes or no.
Mhm.
And I don't want anyone judging me on a sheet of paper. Like, there's so much to more to each of us, right?
Yeah.
And if you were not fortunate enough to go to a great school or have great connections, and maybe you didn't have internships for a number of reasons, or your work experience was just average, you get passed over today. And
Mm.
it's really hard for for both sides. The hiring manager, especially today with ChatGPT, everybody now looks like a superstar, right? Because ChatGPT is only going to say you're perfect for the job, right? So it's
Right.
so misleading. It's so easy to practice like interview answers, and rehearse them, and you could sound so polished today. But especially with the ChatGPT resume, it's hard. The hiring manager, on an average company in America, they get 250 applicants for one job. So imagine being the hiring manager and getting a stack of 250. It's like, where do you begin? How do I begin sorting this out, right? And often the person who has the best resume is not necessarily the best person for that job. There's so many factors, and then from the candidate standpoint, right? How do you stand out? You might have a mediocre resume at best, but you're just a superstar. Like, you got
Yeah.
magnetic personality. You got great energy. You're a go-getter. You got toughness, right? All the great qualities that employers want, but they never get a chance to show those because they're
Yeah.
being judged by a sheet of paper. So I said, let's just see if we can record these vets and get them, even if they're just 10 seconds. Hey, my name is Jordie. Thank you for
Mhm.
checking me out. I'm so excited. That's enough for a hiring manager to say, yeah, I think I like this guy. Let's look at his resume, or let's invite him in. Or, oh, I don't know, it's not a good match. Who else right? But it's almost like a first interview. You don't need to meet with somebody for 20 minutes to see, are we going to be a good match? You can listen to them introduce themselves for a minute, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we want to go further with this one. So I started that right when 12 years ago, the video intro,
Oh,
and
wow.
the clients love them. They love the speed of being able to hire. They love that it's very revealing,
Mhm.
especially if you have like a forward facing position, or a position that's interacting with other people. You want to know about their personality, how they communicate, how passionate they are. Are they smiling? They look likable, like you want to hang out
Yeah.
with them all day? You can't tell any of that from a resume. Right.
Yeah.
But people who get hired are the ones who have the best resume. And because the ones who you're missing out on are not even getting to the interview stage, they're going right to the rejects. And one of my favorite hires was, I was helping a woman out of the military, was interested in the job, and she had just this horrible resume. It was like
Mhm.
god awful. But I'm being who I am, I'm like, I give everyone a shot. So I'm like, come on, let's meet on Zoom. So I meet her on Zoom and was blown away. She didn't even say a word. Like the Zoom camera that's starting up, that while you're connecting and getting your audio,
Mhm.
she's like, hey, and she had a great smile, and she was so friendly and welcoming and warm. We chatted for 10 minutes, and I said, what are you doing now? She goes, oh, I work at Burger King or Wendy's or one of the. I was like, what are you doing there? There's nothing wrong with
Mm.
those jobs, but not for you. You served in the military. Why are you there? Oh, they pay me $18. It's the best job I can get. I was a mechanic or something. Who's going to hire? She had no confidence in
Mhm.
her worth in corporate America. And I go, give me 20 minutes. And I took her video and I sent it to a hiring manager I knew near her, and they hired her on the spot, but just by looking at
Wow.
the video. And
That's
she got
amazing.
off to a career. It was paying, I think, like 60K. So she like tripled or whatever she was making at the fast food restaurant, and now got on a path that can hopefully provide for her family, where the other one would have been, you hit a wall. Like, how much you going to make in those places? So that,
Yeah.
like, love stories like that. And that was all because of using video to present.
That's the difference between a job and a career, and I would
Yeah.
say having been someone on both sides of the fence of, trying to make it through the bots, right? Reviewing your resume. First of all, if you don't even back in the day, if you didn't have the right keywords in your resume, the HRIS system wasn't gonna let you through, and that can be really frustrating, and I was telling someone today, I always say, "Listen, if I get in the room, I'm closing. But, like, I gotta get past the
In the
bots
room,
first,
that's the
right?
hardest part.
That's the hardest part. So I love the fact that you've,
'Cause
figured
think
out
about it,
this
you get
little thing.
250 on average. That's an average company. Somebody applies
Mhm.
to Under Armour, put a couple zeros on the end if they post a job. I mean, they're gonna have 2,000 applicants, right?
Yeah,
But an average job, 250. The average hiring manager's maybe gonna interview 5, 10 tops.
right.
So you got a couple percentage chance to get through all that mass. It's hard today. And
Yeah.
especially there are programs that let people today apply to it'll apply for them to
Yep,
200 jobs a day. It's like,
yep.
holy crap. So
Yeah,
anyway,
it's really hard. Okay, let's pivot to growing your team because I think you have, like, 45 plus team members
we
now?
have about, I think we're about 30 right
Thir
now, but
30,
I use
okay.
about 15 of them, maybe 10 or 15 are called like full timers with us, right?
Mhm.
Employees charge, and the others are all skill bridgers. So
That's
I'm a
awesome.
customer too. Like, I only want to hire somebody who gets a chance to kick the tires on what it's like to work here at Seven Eagles. So they spend like 3 months working here, and make sure we like each other, both sides. And then if we do, we convert them over.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What has been the hardest part though when you've had to scale? Because it came from you, with a
Yeah.
mission, and now you've got 30 plus people. What was it like doing
There's so
that?
many things that are hard, and tough. And Probably if I had to say first of all, you always think you're going to find someone who's going to like work as hard as you as the
Mm,
owner. That never happens. It's not their responsibility too, it's your
yeah.
company, you own it, right? So, um, that can be hard sometimes when they're like shutting down at, 4 o'clock and they're not going to think about it until the next day when they walk in. Where me, it's like, oh my God, this business never leaves my mind. But probably the biggest challenge is, and what the advice I'd give to anyone who's starting a business is you got to get good at sales and you got to hire people
Mm,
who can sell. Because if you can't bring in the revenue of by selling your product or service, the business, it's so much more challenging. Money solves a lot of problems. When you have good revenue coming in, you can muscle your way through most problems that you're gonna encounter. The most businesses fail because they run out of money.
what do
So
you think makes a good salesperson? What are the qualities of a good salesperson?
just the grit, the just like get out of my way. I'm gonna be successful, like that belief in themselves, the never stopping. Like, hey, I need to sell one product a week, right? That's my goal. Like, don't leave Friday until you sold that product and just have that desire to be in the top 1%. I'm
Mm,
gonna make so much money because life's better when you have money, right? And to have somebody who has that ambition for being a super earner, because they have big goals behind that, not just to earn the money, but, oh, I want to take my family to Disney World this Christmas, or I want to sock away money or buy a house or whatever their goals are, they can attach those to their performance. But if you can find revenue generators
mhm.
and you put your foot on the gas, you'll make the rest of the business work. If you can find people who believe in it and are willing to reach out and have conversations with whoever to put the revenue in the bank, if you can do that, man, everything gets so much easier.
I find that there's a rare individual who says money doesn't matter, that they actually live their lives in a way that exemplifies that. They live very minimally and they don't have a lot of bells and whistles. But for the vast majority of us, it's not the money in and of itself. It's what it, as you said, what it allows us to do, to
Yeah.
take the trips, to carve out the time, to build a business the way you want to build it. Money does
Oh my God.
matter.
And to give back. Like we all want to make life better for others, family
Hmm.
members, people we love, causes that are important to us. You can have such a great impact if you can make as much money as you can, because then you could do great things with it, right? And I don't know. I feel like a lot of times people use that as an excuse for their behavior. Like they know they're not making money or doing well with oh, well, that's not important to me.
How did you approach funding and financing your business in the beginning or even now to help bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's another great question. And also, I wish I had a good answer for that other than you do everything and anything you can do. I never wanted to have investors out of the
Mm,
gate. And by the way, it's extremely difficult to get investors when you just have an idea, when you don't have a
yeah.
track record or something to show them. But I never wanted to give up ownership of the business because everything I do, I believe in it. I believe I can make it really successful. So I just grind it out and running up credit cards to pay stuff, taking line of credits, taking loans, I just, you have to you do whatever you have to do if you believe in it to make it work. That's why the stakes are high. You got to be a little bit of a, cowboy or cowgirl to be in this business because it's not for the faint of heart, put it that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as long as you're doing your best to make smart decisions every day and keeping an eye on the debt of the business and paying it down when you can, and if I know we're going to be successful, I know we're going to get to where we want to go, and when that happens, that'll be a good result because I'll own 100% of the business and it'll
Hmm.
be in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, in your day to day, are there certain systems that you now rely on to kind of free you up to operate in your zone of genius?
Yeah, good question. Another hard one to do, but it's super important to have those processes in place. I have a really great team working with us, so I'm trying, especially now, because I have like a 3-year plan for myself. I want to get this to a place in 3 years and then do other things with my career. So I have good people who, somebody helps me with my email every day. One of the assistants,
Mm.
she'll go through and do 90% of cleaning out all the emails. Someone else responds to the phone calls, someone else, So I try to farm out as many of the tasks as possible that I don't need to be doing. Anyone, with a little training can do them. That's really hard as a business owner, but it's so important. I wish I'd learned that lesson earlier is, for example, if I want to make $1,000 for myself in a year, that's roughly $100 an hour. So if I'm looking at a task I have to do, if I could hire somebody for less than $100,000 to do that task, you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's harder than it's easier than it's easier. Sometimes it's harder to do. But for example, if I have to like build a list of prospective customers and it's just typing and, admin type list, and that's going to take me an hour to do that, that hour should be spent on revenue generating activities for the business. I could hire somebody for $10, $15 an hour to build that list for me. And the list is going to be 99% of the same list I would have built, but I need to leverage my time so I can do more. I can bring in sales and drive revenue in that hour, which is going to pay more than $100, not a $10 an hour task. But
Yeah,
you
that
sometimes you're like, I'll just do it. But you realize it's a horrible, horrible use of time if you're the owner of the business.
it sounds like that the Dan Martell
Yeah.
philosophy of letting that go and knowing your value. But
Yeah.
I mean, how do you deal with the control issue? For me, my email, there are days where I feel like it's eating me alive, but the idea of letting someone muck around in the email gives me anxiety. I know
I'm
at
the
some point you
same
gotta
way.
let it go, but, like, how did you get to the point where you
You
let your
you
admin
never
get in
do.
there?
You never do. I mean, it's just like because I'll even sit like her name is Mary who helps me each morning with my email, but then I just get so stressed out because I'm looking at the email inbox during the day and it's like 40, 50, 60 and I'm
Yes.
like, "Oh crap, I can't wait till the morning for her to do I'll just do it." And then I end up spending I shouldn't, but I get I'm
Yeah.
the same as you.
Yeah, and I have multiple emails, multiple tabs, then you got the personal email and it's a little bit crazy. All
Yeah.
right. Now, one of the things that's interesting to me is like you have cybersecurity and IT fields that are constantly evolving. How do you keep up with the skills that the companies need versus what the veterans are trained in? I mean, I know
Yeah.
we talk about SkillBridge, but are there other things that you do to help bridge the gap for them?
So yeah, I'm not an expert at any of the jobs that the companies need or like, I don't know much about cybersecurity, but we just need to be good at evaluating, not
Mm.
about, but at in preparing the talent for success, at helping them present themselves in the best light to these companies. And then we step aside. We make it easy for the companies to meet the candidates and then they talk to one another. So we're more of like the middleman there and just making the
Mhm.
matchmaker, I guess.
Okay. Um, Let me ask you this. Is there a common mistake that you see other recruiting agencies make when they try to work with the veteran community? Or are you not paying attention to them because you're too busy killing it?
It's a tough recruiting is a tough business, it's just so we're a little unique in that we don't do the evaluating and presenting of the candidates anymore. We used to, but we
Mm,
pivot. Now we have more of a platform. It's a web-based platform where it's almost like a LinkedIn where the hiring managers can come on and watch all these videos and read resumes and do searches and saying, "Hey, I need someone who wants to be a lawyer in Los Angeles," and they can see those candidates and then they can talk to one another. So we sort
right.
of step aside and let them recruit because for the first 10 years of our career, we were that middleman. We were the
Mhm.
recruiter. And it's hard. It's like if you said to me, "Hey, I want to hire a paralegal," go out and present a short list to me, and I go out and talk to 50 people, and I present 3 of them to you. The people I like, what's the likelihood there would be the exact same people if you did that work? And chances are they're going to be different. Because I might look at someone and say, "Oh my God, look at her. Her personality is awesome." You might look at the person and say, "What kind of experience does she?" No, I don't need that. Who else you got, right? And it just there's so many variables. It's such a weird business. So
Yeah.
sort of, to answer your question, I just think it's a tough business. It's hard. And unfortunately, most vets don't make it their first year. Half of them,
Mm,
they quit or get fired in their first year out of the service because I feel they just don't put the thought into what they want to do before they start out looking for jobs, right? They don't do
right.
that soul searching. And it's tough to figure out, what do I want to do with my life, right? What's my passion? And they just jump into a career, or they get a recruiter says, "Hey, I see you were a mechanic in the military. Hey, I got a mechanic job at a manufacturing company." And oh, okay. And then before you know it, you're doing the mechanic job when you realize, no, I want to own a restaurant, man. That's what I want to
Mm,
do. Right. And we
yeah.
try to take that person and say, you don't be a mechanic. Let's get you down the restaurant path.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, whether it's with the military or civilians. I think that's the general problem in recruiting. The recruiters are just trying to make those placements as quickly as possible because that's when they get paid. So they might jam a candidate who's not necessarily want to do that job or not the right fit. They might try to push him or her through. But
And to your point, that's the importance of having candidates that stand out, because I think what people don't appreciate is the internal pressure to hire fast. So they may not necessarily go deep into an applicant pool because they
right,
have pressure from that manager, like, I need someone
fill it,
now.
losing money,
So
fill that
you
role.
right. So hurry up. All right. If someone is listening and they're thinking about doing a mission driven business, kind of like you,
Yeah.
what's the one thing that you would tell them that you wish someone would have told you when you started, marrying that mission and being in your heart led, but
Yeah.
also being in the business to make money,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Because I started 23. It's because I'm crazy, but I wish I worked harder when I was younger. I wish I
Mm,
like I worked twice as hard as whatever I did because 59 now. And you want your life as you get older, you want it to get easier, not harder. I'm
right.
working. I feel like I'm like, come on, man. I was supposed to be at the beach by now. Margarita, what's going on? But I'm
Same.
working so hard now. So I didn't focus enough on, I want to make a lot of money. And I should have. I wish I was more dialed in on like just more ambitious financially. I was doing, like you said, I was out in Puerto Rico with the Clementes and out on hockey rinks. I was just like, oh, this is great. What a fun job, and it was a cool job to talk about, but it didn't make the money that I should have been making at that age. So I wish if I could do it again, I would have picked something. I would have been a little bit more financially ambitious and said, man,
Mm,
come on, put your head down. Let's go. So when you're 40, you can do what you want to do with your time. So you're not in the grind as much. Because there's so many other goals I have for myself that I want to do. And so that's why I'm trying to go super fast right now.
yeah, we have a lot of parallels in that regard. Although I think when I hear you talk about all the wonderful things you've done, that there's a fulfillment there that you do get despite not having the
No
money.
doubt.
So
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
that's what
I
I think
love, I
about.
love, like, before I got on with you, somebody sent me a note. He goes, "I just want to thank you so much for coming into my life and
Oh,
helping me."
wow.
And it was just a guy in our academy. But it's a stressful time, for when you're transitioning out of something where you know what you're doing every second of the day and being told, go here, right? And now you're coming into the unknown of being thrown into the civilian world, and most of them have families, they have
Mhm.
houses, they have bills, and to have somebody to have what our team does in their corner with them, and hey, we got you, let's go, come on, we're going to do this. It's super rewarding, and I love that aspect of it. Money aside.
Yeah,
I just love that. I feel good when I go to sleep at night. So
and that really matters. All right,
yeah.
Jordy, I'm gonna get you out of here with this one. When you hear the phrase, "Do small business like a big boss," what does that mean to you?
Do small business like that. To me, that means business today. It's not like when I started in was like 1990, right? My first business. It was hard, man. You needed like, oh, go out and buy business cards, and then you're dropping $100. Go start a web page when they came around a few years later, and it's like I remember paying $15,000 for a web page. You know, today it's the barriers to enter are so much lower. You can run a business out of your house. You don't have to have big expenses. Do it like a boss. Like just freaking find something you love, something that you can envision growing into something substantial. And everyone should go into business ownership with an exit in mind. Like, I'm going to
Mhm.
grow this because I want to exit. I don't want to, otherwise, just go get a job, right? You don't want to get an expensive job for yourself. You want to get into it because you have a big outcome sometime in the future. Grow it like a boss, man. Just friggin' go for it. You can do anything. I've seen people start businesses in the craziest things. I just saw it online. One guy did a business. All he did was got a jar, filled it with water, and put a cup at the bottom. And he'd go up to like convenience stores and say, "Hey, can I put this jar with the water right next to the cash register? And when people get change back from buying a candy bar, give away $100 if anyone gets it into the cup." And just drop the coin, and it swivels down and
Mm.
misses the cup. He makes $200 a day. He splits that with the store owner. $200 a day for getting
Wow.
a jar, filling it with water, and letting people play a game to win $100.
Wow.
What?
It's
I'm like, oh, man, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
200 a day. It's crazy. It's
Yes.
crazy. It's like, what is that? Whatever that is, 50
That's like
grand
the
a year.
definition of passive income. I just gave
But
it,
there's
you
so
just
many
go and
cool
play.
things you can do today, especially with the internet. It makes it
Yeah.
so easy to look like a superstar. And there's so many great tools, and ChatGPT can help you, and to just friggin' go for it and have big goals. I love when people have big goals for themselves, and because it's so easy to get caught up and say, "Oh, I just want to run a small business and make 1,000 a month." I'm like, "No, don't do that, man.
Mm.
Make 1,000 a day. Come on, go for it." And be creative, take chances, take risks. Don't be afraid to fail. I always tell people, like, your first business, as you're getting going, pick businesses that when you fail, it's going to be fine, right? Maybe it's sweat equity, but it's not. Don't go buy a pizza shop and put your life savings into getting a lease, and don't do that because you're going to fail. The only way you're going to be successful in business ownership is getting through a lot of friggin' failure. Every
Mhm.
day there's something some hurdle you got to get over. Until you have those experiences, you're not going to get good. You need to have them to learn those hard lessons. And I want you to learn those lessons when there's not a lot at stake. Don't put don't take out a bank loan for $100,000 and you've never done a business before. Do a, my, one of the vets went on Facebook Marketplace. We just go around the neighborhood and say, "Hey, can I sell your old junk for you? And we'll split it 50-50." And making tons of money. Just go, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I have these old golf clubs or this old bed or diaper changer." And just take everyone's junk and sell it. It's not his. It just sold it, made money every day. That's a great first business, something like
Mhm.
that, right?
Mhm.
Start a dog walking business. I don't know, just do something to get in the game, and just you'll get better each time. And then maybe on your second business, your third, your fourth, that's when it can get really exciting. So anyway,
Awesome. Jordan, where can the people find you in Seven Eagle?
sure. So if you are a military veteran, a military spouse, we'd love to have you. Everything we do here is free for you. It's 7eagle.com, the number 7, the word eagle. If you are a business owner and you need talent, you need labor, and whatever role, let us know, man. We can have this through this SkillBridge program. You can have some of our candidates, our vets, can come work for you for 2, 3, 4 months, and you don't even have to pay. There's no salary due. You get a chance to see them in action. It's a great way to grow your business. So let us know as well. You can reach out us. You reach out to me on email. It's jk@7eagle.com, or reach us through this site. But we'd love to help you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your stories today. It's been amazing. And hey, for my bosses, that's it for today. Remember, build it messy, build it scared, just don't build it small.
I
If this
love it.
episode resonated with you in any way, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us get our message out. That's all we got for you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Aisha. That was great.
Thanks, Jordie.